Hey there, everybody, and welcome to my second stream. Hopefully, everything will be all right. As you can see, we moved into the office, although it's still really not cleared out, but I'm still using the old computer. We'll get it all sorted out. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, everybody. Anyway, we're here to draw a comic today. As you remember, Troll's just getting home from the airport after he was eaten by the mimic and had a little rough time there. And now I think the next scene, he is going to just be coming home, coming up to the front door. This timeline occurred to me while I was in the shower yesterday. So, inspiration strikes me anywhere. I was trying to think of, how he would be greeted when he came home. So that's what we're going to draw today. As you can see in the second panel there, I kind of split it up. I had kind of enough for 4 panels, but not really. And I thought, I'd play around. I've never done a split panel before, so we'll see how it goes. So, enjoy. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you guys are having a good time and a good day. So let's zoom in here first. I have the blob brush tool. One thing I noticed reviewing the last stream that I did is that none of the tool palettes or pull down menus show in the recording or in the live stream. So I'm spent so much time last time saying, oh, and I'm setting this to 3 and that to 4, and if you do the pressure here, and you guys couldn't see anything that I was doing. Yeah, I know that you can see the layers over here on the side and the swatches over on the right side, but there's a toolbar over on the left that you guys aren't seeing. You're not seeing any of the, when I do the brush palette, the brush options, you guys aren't seeing any of that. So I'm not going to waste time talking about that, hopefully. I might, slip up out of habit, but we're going to try not to talk about that. So if you'll recall, I've got everything set up on layers so that I can work independently and not worry about goofing something up as I sort everything out. So I start off with a sketch on the blue layer, on the blue line layer, and then we do black on the ink layer up here, and then the shading goes in the color layer. I've got a balloon layer for the balloons and for all of the conversation that happens. And then we've got a frames layer, which nicely shows us the frames and has our watermarks in there. You can see if I take that away, you would just see all the layers underneath it. I have that locked over here so that I can't accidentally draw on my frames layer. And we're going to just start off on the blue line layer with the blob tool, a nice light blue brush, and I think we're ready to go. So the first panel is going to be Troll arriving home. So this is maybe a view of Troll that we don't normally see. It's going to be the back side, so I like to give him a little bulge on the back of his head, and his ear coming off here, and ear coming off here. I still like to make his hat just two-dimensional. We'll have the collar of his shirt, and his hand coming down ends in that cuff always. And his other hand will be over here. And then we can see his sweet, sweet ass with some pockets on these jeans. And he's going to be holding Mimic, Mimi the Mimic. I don't know if Mimic is part of the SRD or, if it's IP, so maybe I shouldn't even be saying that. I don't want to get sued by wizards, by some magical wizards. So let's just say his shape-changing friend is over here in his hand. I don't really like how that's playing out, so I'm going to delete those lines that I just made, which is the whole point of, oops, one leg too far, which is the point of having a sketch layer is that we can play with it. I want kind of a more three-dimensional suitcase going on there. It doesn't matter that it changed size because it is a shapeshifter. We give them cuffs because all the cool kids roll their jeans. Some little hooves there at the bottom. They're supposed to be boots, but they always look like hooves. And then his beard loops in. We'll do a loop over here too, just for. And then his door. It's coming up the doorway. His little mailbox over here. Maybe a light up here. This is actually kind of what my house looks like for those of you that are stalking me, because I get so many stalkers. Um, there you go. He's coming home. The dialogue will happen up here. It'll cover up just the top of the door. Nothing important. All right, that's kind of enough generally for that scene. So the next scene is Winston opening the door, because that's what he does. It's not true. Whenever Winston hears someone at the door, he runs and hides under the bed. He's a scaredy cat, quite literally. But just for the sake of this, we're gonna have him all freaked out. I'm not liking where this is going either. Sorry, you have to bear with me. I guess that's the beauty of these streams, is that you get to see the whole process as I kind of work through it. So let's see. I need to communicate. Sorry for the silence there. I'm thinking. I'm not a great multitasker, which I guess could be a challenge here. I need to think through showing Winston opening the door, and maybe I've hobbled myself here with this short frame, but we will persevere. I believe in all of us. If you guys are still watching anyway. All right, so I selected everything on that frame because I was dissatisfied. We're going back here to the brush, and I think we're maybe good where we were starting off. So there's Winston, all hunched up, Halloween cat. Totally freaked out. His little head always has a W on it, and it really does in real life, so that's all right. All right, that's okay. And because then I can communicate in this next frame that he's holding onto the doorknob. He just jumped up. You might have seen him in the background. By the way, since this is a new setting that I'm drawing in, you're seeing a lot of the crap that's kind of just... It's a small room with a lot of stuff in it, and also a big, empty, dark doorway behind me. So if you see a ghost or something, that'd be kind of cool. Just let me know later. Don't kick me off. Right there. Okay, so here's Winston's gonna be holding on to the doorknob, and he's calmed down now. He's excited because the window in front of me is open, or the blinds are open. It's not open. It snowed like 3 inches yesterday. But the blinds are open, letting some sunshine in, and that's always a pretty exciting day in the life of a cat. So here he is. His eyes are kind of back to normal. I don't like where that nose wound up, so on the back of the stylus, I can use that eraser tool. Just erase those lines that I put in. Give him a nose and the little puffs. He gets 3 little whiskers, usually 3 coming out of his ears. 3 is a kind of a magical number, so I like to do things in 3s. Here's his little paw coming down, his belly, and his other paw will be over here. And then we got room up here for some dialogue. And then we are getting back to the third panel, which is again going to be Winston just standing there in the door. But I think that the door has been implied enough now that we can kind of get rid of it. We'll just do his body. And he's gesturing, kind of like Troll always likes to gesture with his hand up like that. And I can have him still kind of holding onto the doorknob over here, just for continuity. I don't like that line. So his head comes up. You can hear him maybe in the background. He's yelling because I'm talking and there's nobody here except for that scary ghost in the doorway. So it confuses him a little bit. Alright, so we got his belly, little white belly. This is eyeballs. There's 3 whiskers. 3 whiskers. and the W. I've discovered watching the last video that I also mumble to myself too, so I apologize for that. And I'm a Yankee, so I talk fast. It's been described to me like a machine gun. I talk in little bursts. Brr, 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 brr. So I'm trying not to do that. But I also just kind of get lost when I'm drawing, so I apologize if that's annoying. So that's going to be pretty much panel number 3, and the payoff will be in the dialogue that's happening. Okay, so I think before we get to the ink stage, first thing, what are we going to do? We're going to save, because we always save. Terrible things happen when you don't save. All right, that's done saving. And then I realized, too, watching the other video, that you guys can't see the little Mac pinwheel of death while it's saving, so you just have to trust me on that. I'm going to draw his tail up here, too. I think that's cool to... All right. Anyway, we're going to save again, and then jump up here to the balloon level as soon as the pinwheel goes away. The upstairs neighbor just came home, so you might hear some noises. It's the beauty of apartment living. It's just usually not too loud, but some stomping and some water noises probably. All right, so we're on the balloon layer, and I'm going to switch over to black because I don't really need to blue line that. And like I said, I like to use the text tool and then drag out a paragraph box that automatically fills with copy, kind of Greeks it out. And Troll is just going to be saying, "Great to be home." Sorry if this sounds thunderous as I'm typing. Yeah, what can you do? Where everything is calm, cool, and in control. Uh-oh. What's happening? There's going to be chaos, you know it. All right, so we need to center that type. Center justified. You guys can't see the pull down, but I'm adjusting the type, and it's the wrong font, so I need to change it to Caballard font, which I found on DaFont is open, for personal and commercial use. Eventually, I will make my own font with my own handwriting. I don't have to worry about any of it. There's been samples of my handwriting in some of the strips before, just like if they're sound effects or like the chomp when you got bitten by the mimic. It can be sloppy, and it's kind of painstaking to sit here and hand letter all this type. So I think I'm going to make a font for myself, and we'll see how that works. But maybe next week. Not making any promises for now. We're using Caballard. Okay, so I want to increase the size on that type that I just made. 18 is kind of what I go with. I think we'll just drop this is down, and I always hate to have a single word on the bottom of a paragraph. It's called an orphan. Poor, sad little orphan. So I always try to make it flow so that there's 2 words at least on the bottom of any paragraph. So that balloon is going to cover up my apartment number, but that's fine. Nobody needs to know it. All right, great to be home, where everything is calm, cool, and in control. Hiss. So now you get to see my on the ink level, you'll get to see my awesome handwriting, because Winston's lines in this top frame of the middle panel is just going to be, which when I come home from a long time gone, like if I'm gone for more than a day or so, and it's the first thing he does. Like it hurts him more than it hurts, it hurts him more than it hurts me. Like he'll give me a very special meow, like, and I know it's going to come, and then just a very reluctant, like, how could you? I longed for you so long. The real Winston is nothing like the cartoon Winston, aside from his propensity to just always want to eat, even though he's a skinny little shit. But what can you do? All right, so the top frame is just going to be, and the bottom frame we're going to have some content. But I want to, again, put it in a paragraph box so that I can adjust it. And he's going to be saying, "Oh, it's you. About damn time." Let's see. And despite what I just said about not having orphans. I think sometimes you have to, depending on the words you use. I can drop down this you, although that breaks up the first little sentence. Oh, it's you in about damn time. You know, I think that I'm going to just completely contradict what I said 5 minutes ago and leave a sad little orphan at the bottom of my copy there. Okay. And then in the final panel, there's going to be more conversation happening. So Winston's going to be saying, I haven't eaten in over an hour. Because really, that's all he cares about. And then from off this screen, I'm going to have J-Puff coming in with, who's at the door? It's not a spider, is it? Because if you'll remember, she thinks everything is a spider. And that's, it's hyperbole, but not really far off. She's a wonderful woman, but deathly afraid of spiders. And I ran this script past her, and she had no problem being the butt of that joke. So, makes for a happy household. So, okay, we've got great to be home, where everything's calm, cool, and in control. Oh, it's you. About damn time. I haven't eaten in over an hour. Who's at the door? It's not a spider, is it? Okay, it's not going to win any prizes, but I think we're doing okay. So we're going to go back to save, right? That's what we always do. Pardon me while I have some water. Hopefully that wasn't too slurpy. All right. Now I think we're ready to rock onto the ink level. I'm actually on the balloon level. What I want, I can do it on the ink level. I want to put like I said, I'll do it on the balloon level. I'll draw in the balloons. So I go back over here to the blob brush. Got to unlock that balloon level if I want to draw on it. Go to the blob brush and draw in this balloon. I like when it just goes right off the top, so I'm going to do that. That was a terrible balloon though, Jay. So let's do this. And, I can always adjust my drawing underneath because we just have that blue line. And this one's going to say hiss. I think maybe for this, you guys can't see it, but I am going to increase the brush size so that I get a nice fat line on that. And there's my crappy handwriting. It was too fat. All right, let's save that again. Go over here and make the brush smaller again. Otherwise I'll forget and we'll be trying to put in lines that are super heavy like that one. And then for here, I can have this balloon come down like that. And it'll be, chopped off. I kind of like that. And then run it up to the top again. I don't like the angle that started with though. We run it all the way down, this little tail. And I can I'll recenter that type so that it's farther up. Same with this. And it doesn't say that it's J-Puff, but we all know that it's J-Puff. That balloon's not nearly big enough though, so I'm going to undo that. Let me move these guys around a little bit just to get a better idea. I haven't eaten in over an hour. Who's at the door? It's not a spider, is it? Right. And then draw this balloon in. you guys can see, like, it's cool to draw with these tablets, but sometimes you don't quite get the right line. Move this guy up again. And, I think that it gets our narrative across. And then on the ink layer, I'll just make sure not to draw over this box over here, or this panel 1 balloon, rather. All right, but I think we are ready to be on the ink level now. Lock the balloon level. Save again, because we always have to save. Might kill, 2 minutes worth of time, but if you put an hour into a file and you haven't saved it and something terrible happens, then you're going to be really sad. Okay, so because we're in Illustrator, I'm just going to do an ellipse there for the street light, or for the porch light. There you go. And likewise, I think I'll just do a rectangle for the mailbox there. Work smarter, not harder, right? And then I can just draw in a line, draw in the sconce here. So this feels like the line's going to be pretty heavy also, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so I'm going to come down from here, this line of the door. This little step here, we can get that in. All right, we'll do the suitcase, I think, first. We'll see how his hand is gripping it. Some little armpit lines here. I complained with the last strip that everything seemed like it was pretty much the same weight, like all the lines. It looked better after I added the shading, but it still wasn't like the best thing ever. So it's important to, like, change the sensitivity or the pressure that you're putting on the stylus, and make some of these lines thicker. Like, lines that are at the bottom of things or in shadowed areas can be thicker, and that gives it the whole drawing a visual weight that's better. You might notice that in drawings that you see around the web, or in books or whatever. So his finger's over here. Oops, I don't know why it filled up that finger. Kind of do it again, but I'm gonna check the smoothing on my brush. Maybe that was doing something. Yeah, that was better. And then this butt cheek here, we'll give it nice weight. He always skips squat day though, unlike Mimi. Okay, get this leg going. These little shoes are black, so we might as well just fill them in. Alright, we got the handle here. It was black last time. And then we go over here to his collar. Again, we can get a little bit darker at the bottom of it, lighter up at the top. At the back of his head. And his ear, the back of his ear. Look at this beard coming out there. This beard kind of out here. It's fun to draw. And then I don't want his beanie to be cut off by the balloon. So I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller and a little bit farther down the side of his head. Right, and then we got the doorknob. Do this over here just for consistency. Some interesting lines going up. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think that reads all right. Let's get some lighter lines in his shirt. And for this, I think I'm going to make the brush smaller. That way I don't have to be as delicate. And then hopefully we'll be undoing fewer lines. Okay, so just real nice and easy. And these guys I try to keep pretty standard as far as the thickness goes, just because they're the pattern of the plaid shirt that he's wearing. There shouldn't be too much variation in it. I figured out watching the recording from the last stream that I kept hitting the microphone every time I would try to use the keyboard. Like if I had to do a key command or something, the microphone must be up in the front on this MacBook. So right now I'm using an external keyboard, so hopefully that'll make things a little bit better. But generally, I was pleased with the quality, especially on my first time out of the gate, and on some equipment that's not the super best equipment in the world. Do his little pockets here, and then we got the horizontal lines. I picked up a few new subscribers, so shout out to you guys. I don't have the list written down, but I'll give you a shout out next time. How about that? I appreciate you tuning in and watching. I know a couple of you follow me on Twitter as well. We picked up a new Patreon backer, Zach Glazer from Arizona. He's one of the guys from Frog God Games. Real cool guy. So I appreciate his patronage. I appreciate you patronizing me, Zach. A lot of lines here. Usually the beard is obscuring this shirt, so we don't have to make so many lines. But today is, we're making up for it. We're making up for not having to draw so much stuff last time. Do a little line there. Maybe a little, highlight up there. I think that's okay for panel 1. So what we do is we save. Let me take a drink of water. All right. Panel number 2A is a very angry kitty. So I think I should have angry eyes on him first off. But like I said, when he's yelling at me, he's not even angry. It hurts him to be disciplining me. But he does let me know about it. And this blob brush, if you remember from last time, creates like a big old object of paint, which is a great boon. I want to change the brush color to white and just put some highlights. That's not working. Put some highlights on his eyeballs. Change that back. I'm not happy. We'll just give him all the fangs. He's got this W. He's an American Shorthair orange tabby. He's 15 and a half years old. He'll be 16 in June. And, aside from walking a little slowly like his old man does, he gets around pretty well. He's an awesome kitty. I've had him since he was about 6 weeks old. So, nice long life together. Alright, so here's his angry Halloween cat back. I'm sure one of these streams he'll photobomb me and then I can introduce everybody to him. But for now, you're just going to have to go with an artistic interpretation. Okay, so we got the door. That was a terrible line. And remember from last time, we don't want to have tangents. I'm being very careful about that right now. So we got this doorknob. And out there I'd put a, just for consistency, I'm trying, yeah, I had a rectangle above. He's holding on to the doorknob on the other side. An elbow and an armpit. These 3 hairs. His pupils will have settled down a little bit now to be just regular kitty cat pupils, not huge alert ones. Put the W on his forehead. There's his nose. Oops, that was a terrible line. I forgot in the other one I like to make the bridge of his nose. So we'll get that in there too. Looks like I just lost the highlight in his eyeball though, so let's put that back in. Oh, the magic of live entertainment. Alright, I'm going to save because it's occurring to me to save. Here's his relaxed face. Alright, his belly. We'll be able to see this a little bit better when I get rid of that blue line layer too, but for now it's serving its purpose. Okay, and then let's save since we just finished that panel. Last time I got a little dry in the mouth from talking, so better armed this time. Alright, and then we're going to do pretty much the same pose as last time. So we got his head here. And I've got the brush still at that small size, I realized, but I'm not minding it. You know, there's a lot of detail in this little kitty here. Hopefully it won't make the first panel look too thick. Let me zoom out here. No, I think we'll be okay. Zoom back in on my work. Get the eyeballs again. W for Winston. And then I think I usually have these guys coming in off the sides too. I haven't drawn him for a while, so I'm forgetting how I had him set up. But I think he had these guys coming in off his cheeks. For several weeks, it's just been the troll show, not so much the friends. But you know, he's back home now, so we'll make it happen. I went and voted yesterday. I live here in Wisconsin, and we had an awesome turnout and awesome results as far as I'm concerned. You know, hopefully that doesn't turn anybody off. But I had a very funny occurrence happen to me while I was registering to vote. I recently moved into a new apartment with J-Puff. Winston and I moved in, and we haven't voted in this county yet. So I had to go and register at the poll. And a funny thing happened on my way to the forum. So that'll be probably maybe tomorrow's, or not tomorrow's, but the next installment will be my adventure at the polling place. Hopefully people will find it entertaining. Alright, just put in those 3 whiskers on each side. I think that's alright. Maybe I'll put his tail up here just to kind of fill that negative space. he doesn't really have um, the Garfield black stripes like that. He's orange with kind of oranger stripes and some white going on, but this works. Okay, so let's save again. Wait for the little pinwheel to stop. And I'm going to hide the blue line. And we'll zoom out and see how it's looking. He's looked better in that last one. I enjoy the top. I enjoy the hissing cap. But once I get, I need to put his stripes in on his body. I'll get some shading in, and then maybe we'll put like a halftone pattern behind him. I've got into doing that in my airport strips, where I started putting texture into the background, even instead of just leaving a big white space. So right now, I mean, I'm not going to draw. If you were to open my front door, you would see the front hallway and some shoes on a mat, and beyond that, the living room and the couch and the patio doors and stuff like that. There's no point in putting all that in, so we'll just put in a texture, a frame. It's not important what's behind him as he's opening the door. As I'm looking at it, though, I don't like this doorknob. So we're just going to get rid of it here in the middle panel. Did I leave a little bump down there? Right, let me zoom in. I think it just needs to be more three-dimensional. We've got the room over here, so oops. So let's do it. So we can have the doorknob, and then have the plate have a little dimension to it. That's better. Just small details. I think I actually want to make the brush smaller, even smaller than it is right now, and get some hatching in, some there you go. Just like here, get some texture in. Maybe, a shadow in here. So is there any place else that needs it? That's pretty sloppy right there on the handle, so I can erase that. Just kind of clean this up and make it look decent. Alright. I guess that's pretty much the only place I wanted. Maybe down here in the corner. This is a pretty busy couple of panels compared to how I usually roll. So yeah, that should be okay. And then let's go back to a bigger brush. We're going to go to, you don't care because you can't see it anyway. I'm going to go to 5-point brush with a 5-point variation. And do his body stripes. That was terrible. Boy, that was like I didn't change the brush size at all. Let's just double check, see. It says it worked. I don't know. Now it's working. I was doing some freelance work, some illustration work for a client earlier today, and they said that their font was all wrong. But I downloaded it from where they sent me to download it. And, so you just never know. With these darn computers these days, I tell you what. Okay, I think his face is bothering me because it's too round. So I'm going to give him more of the diamond shape. The favorite drawing that I ever did of him was in the corner of a painting that I was doing for a wine festival. and he was just an add-on. I had some room down in the corner, so I added him in, and the client loved it. Okay, I think that's good enough. I'm gonna work it to death. So save it. I'm rambling more today, and I apologize for that. I guess last time I was trying to be more instructional. I could keep doing that, but I think it would be boring eventually for people that tune in every time. So I'm switching over. I just locked the ink layer, and I'm on the color layer now. We're going to take this medium gray that we like to use, and then we'll paint in underneath anywhere that we think needs shadowing. So I think I'm just going to paint this whole sconce different tone, just you know, just for funsies. Same with this guy. I like to stick with just the, just the black, the white, and the gray. For now, it feels all right to me. I think if I did color it all, it would be more watercolory than just like harsh cell shading or anything like that. Let's see. We can color in his whole beard because we're not going to see his face. We color in his whole beanie always. I realized that I didn't put any flannel on his collar, so it just looks like he has a giant neck. I'm fortunate, in that I never see the back of my head. All right, so let's. While I'm thinking about that, let's hop off the ink on the color layer onto the ink color, switch back to black, which is rich black, like I said, like I like to use. And we'll just try to be real gentle and put in some lines here. That's too thick. All right, I'm going to make the brush smaller. All right, and then we're just going to put some plaid on his collar here. And I'm doing this on the ink layers, which is nice. Now you'll see in a little while when I put like a textured layer in the back just to fill up empty space like I was talking about. The one challenge with that is that anything that doesn't have a fill, like right now it looks like his shirt is white or the back of his head is white, but it's not really. It's transparent. It's just that there's white paper behind it, or the white screen behind it. But if I were to drop another texture back there, you'd be able to see the texture through the back of his head. So when I do that, I kind of have to go back in and then paint all the white areas white. But I think it's worth it. I think it gives it a nice depth. All right, so I'm going to give him a little shadow now. We're back on the color layer. I just realized I need to make my brush bigger again. It's a lot of jumping back and forth. But that's okay. All right, and the back of his ears. That one, I don't like that line. There. See, now it seems like the brush is small again. Just see what I'm saying? Like that was the hardest pressure. My friends would say, "Oh, it's Mercury retrograde." Maybe there's something to it, but I don't really buy it. It's just computers. All right, so see, that's a nice thicker line. And we can get the back of his arm there. We got the front of his cuff. Do some shadow under his collar. And then his jeans are always gray. The cuffs are always white. Since this is just a small area, I don't bother like trying to use the smart fill tool or anything like that. Just takes a couple extra seconds to draw it all in. I'm noticing now that his boot has some white spots in it. I think I can just fix them on this layer with this gray. It'll be fine. Alright, we can just do the underside of that there. I feel like the line of the door up to his head needs some more definition. So I'm going to draw that guy in better. And then while I'm here, I can just fix that boob. Alright, we can get back to the color layer. And the light gray. It would all be white here because of all the snow we got yesterday. But I think I just want that rectangle to be filled in. You know, it can be grass, it can be pavement, it can be whatever. It's your world. Okay. I think that's safe to say. We'll just put some texture lines. Run up this wall here. Why not? I don't really want to fill it with the halftone like the others will. So we'll just do that for now. You know, I could be wrong. We'll find out. We'll see how it looks when I get the other halftones in. But right now, it kind of looks like maybe siding or whatever. All right, and then we save. I'm sorry if that seems redundant, but man, just do it every time. All right, work on panel number 2. I love the way that you can just, just like using a real brush, how you can just draw a nice fat stroke, from a thin stroke. I think in this panel, maybe he needs some stripes on his arms, but I'm not going to do that in the ink layer. I think that would be distracting. So we'll just do it like that. Fill some of this in behind him. So we'll fill that in. All right. Continue up here. Maybe I should save. All right, saved it. Just get all this in. Now, angled lines are uneasy. They make a scene. A nice flat line, is nice and stable, and an upward line is kind of picks everything up. But an angled line will communicate stress. So that's what we're doing here with these little angled lines. I think that was a super easy fix. Give him these bags under his eyes, and I'm gonna color in his nose. Give him a little shadow on his belly there, under his side. Then we move right back over here to this last panel. I think I want the shade to be under his chin more. There you go. Now we got this down to a science here. We get this shadow under his arm, and then in this one I'll add, stripes to his arms like we did in the previous panel. Winston in real life has cute little white mittens, so I'd like to leave those. Get the underside of this doorknob. Okay, I think we're looking all right. I'm gonna put a little shadow under there. Just flesh this out a little. That belly shadow. All right, and then, as promised, I'm going to save right now, have a little drink, but we're real close to done. Not bad, we're at 51 minutes. Thanks for hanging in there with me, everybody. If you if you have hung in with, I have no way currently to check the chat. I have to set it up in a different monitor because this thing takes all of my attention, so I'd have to be able to look over and see the chat without flipping back in between windows. I don't think there's one or two of you right now. Not that you're not important, but there'll be more maybe interaction in the future. So please bear with me, and we'll get it all done. So I'm going to make a layer above the blue line, but beneath the color. And I'm going to make that one the gradient. And on that layer, I'm going to draw a box. So with the pen tool, you can't see what tool I'm using, but you're just going to have to trust me. I can draw, I don't know if you can see that yellow line, but I can draw a shape. But it's showing the line is yellow, and it's really hard for me to see with the backlight of the window open behind the monitor. So sorry if this is kind of trying here. All right, and that one I want to fill with a texture. So right now I'll fill it with gray. You'll see, but then I'm going to have different textures here that I can put. And as you can see, the dots are coming through Winston's body. So I need to go back in and paint behind Winston's body white. That was kind of grungy, huh? Yeah, that one's not terrible. I think we'll go with that one. And I want to do a little bit up in the corner too. So I take my pen tool again, and I'm just drawing a Bezier curve just to fill up that corner. And you know what? I want like an oval too. Now that I'm just looking at this, I just want like an oval sticking out here. Just to, I don't know, give some visual interest to what's going on. All right, so I'm gonna save that now that we've changed that layer. And on that same gradient layer, I'm going to deselect the guy that I have selected, go back to the blob brush, change it to white. I have to zoom in. And now I just have to paint Winston white in the areas that I don't want that dot to come through. So I can make the brush a little bit bigger. That'll save us some time. But we're almost done here, boy. We're right at the end. All right, change this guy. And I've got the layer that I'm coloring on is under the color layer where I do my gray shading, and so I can just draw right over the gray, but it'll retain its nature. So basically I can just scribble all over Winston here, and the dots will all go away wherever I'm coloring. So this will just take another minute here, and I think we'll have a completed strip. last time, after I stopped the stream and kind of reviewed the strip, I did make two little changes. I think there was a line that I missed somewhere that I put in, and then I also added a little fart noise in the third panel, in the just inside the drop shadow under the Mimi's butt, um, just a little to accentuate, in case you missed the fact that he was farting the troll out. Um, there's no ambiguity when it comes to toilet humor. Okay, I've got some dots up there that we need to take care of. Overall, Mr. Winston's looking all right. Do his tail here. Straight dot. Doesn't have a belly button. All right, I got a fix right there where it goes over the balloons. Well, I think we're looking okay. And if you have any feedback or anything, feel free to comment or drop me an email. My email address is jaybird216, JAYBIRD216 @gmail.com. Or you can just go get a hold of me through the website. If you want to read the rest of the comics, it's at trollandfriends.com. I am going back to. I want to have. Ooh, that's a big thick brush, isn't it? I gotta make the brush smaller. I'm just looking at this. I don't like that spot on the top of Winston's head. So I went back to the color layer and changed the color of my brush to that light gray again. And I just want to put that in. Those tabbies always have all those, colors up on top and everything. Fix some spots that we maybe didn't get. Zoom out a little. Take the whole thing in. Okay, and then looking at the balloon layer now, that we're back in command here, I think we're just gonna finesse this guy up here. I haven't even over an hour. Is it the door? It's not spider, is it? No, it's you. About damn time. All right, we'll be fine with that time at the bottom. Okay, cool. Well, I think, my friends, that is another Troll and Friends strip in the can. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and like I said, see the rest of the episodes at trollandfriends.com, or find me on Twitter at Jason Brown Art. My last name is Brown, but it's spelled the German way, Braun. So if you prefer, at Jason Braun Art, but it's Jason Brown Art. On Facebook at Jason Brown Art, and Tumblr, Twitter, all the things, all the places. I'm also, I chop it up and I put it onto Webtoons under the Slice of Life category. I only have one person following me there, and I'm up against all kinds of anime and manga strips, and I have no idea how to get popular there, but it's cool. I mean, if there's one person reading and enjoying it, that's absolutely great. That's enough for me. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys on Monday.